lecture today with us, Ronald Nayeja, as a lecturer, Doctorate in Business Administration, PhD. As for the topic today is Public Relations, Communication, and Listening. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Novita, and I will be host you for today. And today's session is being live streamed on the University of STEKOM channel. And now I will read our agenda this afternoon. First, we will start class presentation delivered by Mr. Ronald, and continue with the Q&A session. And in the next session, we have time for the foundation, and last is closing. And let's begin. We will start the class delivered by Mr. Ronald.
All right, thank you so much. I don't know if you're able to hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, sure.
Yes, sir, we can hear you clearly.
Hello?
Hello.
You can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
I was asking if you're able to hear me.
Okay.
Hello? Okay, can I proceed?
Okay.
My introduction, I'm Ronald Nayeja, a lecturer at DMI University, and I'm a lecturer in business administration and in commerce. I've got master's degree in business administration with a credit, and also PhD in business administration. My topic today, I'll be sharing a public lecturing, and it will be called public relations, communication, and listening. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Not yet.
Hello? Are we able to see my screen?
No, not yet. We cannot see the presentation.
You can the screen.
We cannot see the screen.
You can see the screen.
Yes.
Cannot see the screen. Okay. Just a minute. How about the how about the sharing? You're able to see.
Can you send us your PowerPoint so we can play it?
I should send you through. I should send through email or WhatsApp.
To
Or
chat.
just see.
Just send it through chat. I guess we can
Through
send
what?
through the chat group. The chat group.
Okay, how about the
Oh,
seeing the screen sharing?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay. All right. So I was saying, I'm Ronald Nayeja, lecturer at DMI University. I'll be presenting a topic called the public relations, communication, and listening. First of all, we need to understand the definition of public relation. What is about when we're saying public relations? A public relation can be defined in terms of a management function which evaluates public attitudes and identifies the policies and procedures of an organization or a company with the public interest. And it always executes a program of action, which is communication, to aid public understanding and acceptance. So a PR is like a mouthpiece. When I'm saying a PR, I'm trying to say a public relations department manager, director, or officer is like a mouthpiece which takes any communication in the office of the managing director or the chief executive officer to communicate or to execute about the communication of the company or an organization. As we can see, public relation management process. A public relation department has got its own management process. So they look into three phases. The first one is about determination and evaluation of public attitudes. It is there to determine and to evaluate of a public attitudes. Number two, it is there to identify of all policies and procedures. There are procedures that are supposed to be adhered and to be done. The last one is about it to develop and execute all the programs of communication that are undertaken at an institution or a company or an organization. Public relation can be put into two phases. It can be traditional or digital. We are in 21st century, things are changing now. We used to be using the traditional mode of communication, but now digital communication or digital marketing has come, whereby we get or fund all our items, all the things, and digital. For example, you order online items. You can buy things online. You can sell things online. You can order as a supplier things online. So things about buying and selling, issues about e-commerce, e-learning, and e-buying, they are also undertaken as in digital. But let me start with the traditional PR perspective, traditional public relations perspective. So a public, as you can see on that slide number 4, you find out the public relation department, it is at the hub of those things that happen at organization. We can start with the customer. It is the PR who communicate with the customer about the product and the service which the company or an organization is selling to the customers or to the client or to the consumers. The other one is an investor. And investors are like people, the owners of the money, those that have got stake at a company. They put their own shareholders, they put money. So at the end of the financial year of the business, they are going to expect to receive their profit, and those profits are called shares or dividends. So it is the responsibility of the PR to keep on communicating to them, whether through emails or through phone calls, about the progress where the company it is. The other one is the government. Government is also the stakeholder of each and every business, each and every organization, and each and every company. You will find out government are there to make policies. They are there to adhere, to make sure that companies are adhering to the policies that have been made. And also government are there to make sure that they are communicating new policies. Any policies that the government of the day they are trying to do in different types of department. It might be in road traffic, immigration, MLIA here in Malawi Living Authority, where they collect taxes. It is the duty of the government to communicate with the offices or companies. They pass the message through the office of the PR. The other one is about employees. Employees, they are there. They may need any communication which can be top down or down. In this case, we're talking about corporate level communication, business level communication, and operation level communication. So it is the responsibility of public relations to keep on communicating to the employees. So public relations department, it is like a hub which communicate between the corporate level, which are managing directors, shareholders, and stakeholders, to the employees that are to use. Suppliers are also there to be communicated about if an organization, a company, it is in the need of anything that they want to order or to buy. The last one is about community. Companies, they operate under, behind them, there is a community. I can give you a good practical example where DMI University is operating after buying their own land and starting building. Outside the campus, we have got a community, and it is the responsibility of organization to make sure that we are living in a harmonious environment with our community by also helping them in on issues about CSR, corporate social responsibilities. So you find that companies that are making businesses here in Malawi, they are also responsible to make some corporate social responsibility in terms of sponsoring some sports, which can be basketball, football, netball, and also trying to assist the needy students in high school and also university or colleges. So the PR is there to bring or to communicate. The other one, it's about, we need to know on slide number 5, we need to know and understand about public relations. You are the hub of the communication which can be internally or outside the organization. The communication which is outside the organization, it is called external communication. The internal communication, we are talking about examples from communication that are being communicated at departmental level. The same structure of an organization, which can be horizontal communication or vertical communication. Examples of such kind of communication, we are talking about issues about memos, putting of the memos, emails circulating internally. But external, we can put external communication, for example, in the newspaper, on TV, and on radios. So on slide number 6, they're trying to give us just a clear picture, a clear clip about when we're trying to say communication, what are internal communication, what are trying to say. It relates about the facts that are going to be relayed internally. On external communication, a good example of external, when an organization through the Office of Public Relations, when they are about to communicate outside them, there are some policies that employees are supposed to adhere, that not everybody is supposed to communicate anything else apart from the Office of the Public Relations Department. So an external communication, it is about a public relation officer or a manager or a director trying to communicate to the investors, to the client, to the suppliers, to the government bodies, to the society, and also to the general public. So that one is an example of external communication coming from the Office of the Public Relations. Now, we just need to see about the difference between internal communication and external communication. Like I said earlier on, I just want to put an emphasis that when we're saying internal, it's just any communication which can be done internally, which can be formal or informal communication, verbal or non-verbal. But when we're trying to say external, anything which is going outside your institution or an organization, it is called external. We want to communicate with the government to take part on maybe on an inauguration of graduation. You want the suppliers to come and to supply maybe computers or toners or laptops or desktop. Those are examples of external communication being going to the suppliers. Now on slide number 9, that's the emphasis that I'm putting that in a public relation officer or department or a director or a manager need to know proper communication. How does the flow of communication goes? If you miss communication, you have missed everything else. That's why in my presentation, I'm talking about public relation. I'm talking about the communication. And the last part is not about only communication. A PR department, a public relationship department, need also to learn about listening. There is a difference between listening and hearing. And unfortunately, not many managers, management or public relations, they know about listening. It's another art. It's another skill. It's beyond hearing. So after this part of communication, I will also talk about the listening part. Why should the public relationship department learn or know also about the listening part as part of communication? So as you see there, they are showing us some diagram which there is a first sender, someone who is trying to communicate. He is sending a communication which can be internally or externally. Then the message need to be encoded, need to be put. You sit down and you try to frame and phrase, paraphrasing and summarizing the context of the communication and to whom are you targeting. So you encode the message. After encoding the message, there are people there, the receivers, which they are going to decode it. Decode is like the interpretation of the communication which someone was trying to communicate. A good example with the lectures, we normally lecture the student. I have lectured almost maybe 10 years. You'll find out when you're lecturing the student, you are trying to communicate to them one message which you are trying to communicate to them. But because there are so many students, the different terms of understanding, some they are going to understand in a different way and different perspective. To the extent when you are asking them the question, you find out what they are responding. Some they are responding the things that you didn't say. Some they will respond exactly the things that you have said. Some they even trying to amplify, to magnify some points, which is very, very good. Then that one is called decoding. Then the receiving. Then there's a feedback. A feedback, it's when we have communicated externally to the suppliers through maybe emails or you send them a memo. When you have communicated with them, you find out you may not know that they have received the communication. So it will be the government. If you're inviting them to attend maybe an example for graduation inauguration, you'll find out when they have responded through the letter or through the email, it means that they have received the communication and that one is good feedback. But if you go down there, they have shown us a noise and it's in red color. That one is just you should bear in mind as a public relationship department that when you are communicating, we have got also some setback that they may affect the communication which you are communicating in a negative way. And one of that is called noise. It may be noise which is happening in the sense of someone maybe is trying to, there's a noise around the place where we're trying to communicate. That one also can affect the communication. So there are so many, these are called the barriers to communication. Barriers to communication, talk about noise pollution. That one is one part of noise pollution. Now, I've already said on slide number 10, the same thing about informal and the informal communication. Communication can be informal or informal, which can be done internally and externally. Let's go on the slide number 12. They are talking about informal communication. An example of informal communication can be rumors, which are not true. So someone is trying to take some rumors that are not true. That one can be given as an example of people's behavior on trying to communicate or send informal communication. That may not be true. So that one is an example of informal communication happening in organization, internally or externally. The other one on slide number 13, it's a diagram there whereby it is showing most of the examples that audiences that the public relation department they normally interact with. So internally or associatedly, you find out the first slide on the same slide which we are discussing. You find out the internal audiences that public relationship normally interact. We're talking about the stakeholders and investors. Stakeholders are the owner for capital, the one that have pumped in their own money. So I've already said on that one, customers and clients, those that are buying your produce, goods or services. Then we've got employees that are working, adhering and also executing to the vision of that company. The other one is about community members, which I've already also seen. Then vendors or the suppliers. Those have been put into categories of internal audience relationship, which public relations department they normally have. Then the other one is about external or independent. Under external or independent audiences that public relationship department interact, we are talking about you can interact with educators, government, financial groups, civic and business organization, and the media. So we all know that public relations, they normally interact most with the media. If the journalists have come at an institution, they want to do an interview, most of an organization, they are going to use the public relationship department to take that interview, because it's naturally their job to keep on interacting with external independent. Slide number 14. We are talking about, just to spice up or to add value on the slide number 14. Sorry, slide number 13, which we already emphasized that public relations department, they interact with internal and also external. Now, let's look at an example of audiences that are internal. Newsletters, memos, magazine, internal, being publicized or being put in the notice board, bulletin boards, direct mail, annual reports. Reports, they can happen a monthly, after maybe 3 months, quarterly. Those are called the internal communication audience that public relations face. The other one is about external. On external, examples are public relations. They can do some press release. They do some press release. Maybe there is a certain report has happened where my customers are complaining about the product which the company are producing. Then you find out they want to defend their image, their brand, their company name and logo. Someone who's got a public relation who stood or stand to do some press release or a conference. The other one, research report. It is a public relations department whereby maybe it's a customer care department, marketing department, when they have gone outside to do some survey, to do some research. I can give you a good example about customer care survey. You want customer feedback. Some organizations have got, you do online, some have got suggestion box. Those are falling under the department of internal and external target of audience of public relations. On slide number 15, we look on what are the tools that a public relations normally use. So a public relations department, they use press release to communicate to the audience, press conferences, exclusive, community involvement. They use the interviews. They can use the internet. All these that are outside, there are tools that public relations through an organization or a company, they can use to communicate to the audience, which can be public or internal. Slide number 16 is the last part of my presentation. Remember, I told you that I'm going to present about law of public relation. Who is a public relation? Communication. Why should the public relation knows or should be more conversant about communication? The last part is about listening. Why should the public relation not only be the person who always love to be talking without listening to what other people are saying, without listening to what the stakeholders, the shareholders are trying to communicate? So the last part of my presentation is about the law of listening as a public relationship. The first one is about you make sure that you should digest and understand it. It's called a conscientious effort, whereby you are making, in listening, you understand the customer need, the feedback which the customers or the suppliers are trying to communicate to you. So when you are listening, you meet the customer's expectation and the needs. On slide number 17, why sometimes we don't listen. Why? Why is it when someone is talking to us, sometimes we don't listen? We don't listen because sometimes maybe we've got some issues that are happening to us. Maybe our mind, our thoughts are being distracted. We are affected. So sometimes we don't listen to what someone is trying to give a message to us. Slide number 18 is about why should employees also know their law in terms of communication? When employees, they know their law of communication, when a public relationship or a department or an organization or a company, they've got a culture of also allowing the employee to listen to their grievances, to listen to their concerns. This is what normally happens under human resource books. When you're doing that, number one, it motivates the employees. The morale is very high. The turnover of people leaving that organization is very low. The absenteeism of people being absent at that organization, it's very low. Because people are coming at work, the morale is high, they are motivated, the productivity of the production of producing or manufacturing is going to be very high. When the productivity of the production is very high, what will happen? The living is going to be very high. Because the living is very high, you have more profit. Because the more profit is high, then the shareholders, the one that they put stake money, the investors, they are going to receive more dividend. And because of that, they are also going to put more and more money of keeping on investing and reinvesting. The last part of my presentation is what I was saying, the importance of employee to keep on communication. It increases employee engagement. They're going to be engaged. You live in a harmonious, working, better environment. It also helps in terms of managing the diversity of the company. The last part, employees that have got what? They are encouraged. And it keeps, because when you're listening to what the employees are thinking, it encourages them to be thinkers, innovators, new ideas. Thank you so much. That was my presentation. My topic, which I was presenting to you, was about public relation, communication, and listening. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know if there is any observation or any question.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. For our participant, if you have any question for the speaker, please add them to the chat or you can raise your hand. Yeah, for first question, we have question from Mr. Faris. In public relation, we know communication is very important, but how important is listening to the audience? Can you give example of how public relation professional can improve the listening skill to understand the public need better and avoid any misunderstanding? Thank you.
So, like the emphasis that I was trying to say, it's public relation. You are at the heart of that slide number 4. So you always make sure that you are communicating to your customer, to the investors, to the government, to the employees, to the suppliers, to the communities. By doing that, you make the customers or any stakeholder perspective or their need.
Thank you. And then the second question, how can public relation professional use listening to, I'm sorry, how can public relation professional use listening to build better relationship with the media and the public? Are there any specific method of tool that can help public relation team listen more effectively to feedback or concern from their audience?
Yeah, public relations, I think companies and organizations, they need to make sure that they are sending their public relationship people that are working in Department of Public Relations to different trainings. Difference to trainings to teach them or to add value in area of ethical issues about how to talk to the audiences and also how to listen to the audiences. So it's a responsibility of an organization to put a budget to be sending to the people that are responsible in public relations to know about more advanced in terms of public relationships skills on audience, and also any example that we may give here.
Okay, thank you. And then the last question, in public relation, how can active listening help professionals respond better to a crisis? Can you give example of how good listening can prevent or solve communication problem during a PR crisis? Thank you.
Thank you so much. On slide number 9, communication, I think it goes into those phases, and it's very, very important that a public relationship should be listening, because if you are not listening, I think you are just adding yourself much work, a very tiresome work, because if you not listen to what stakeholders are saying, which can be client, suppliers, government, you will miss what they are looking at. And once you miss them, whatever that you are going to deliver to give them to them, it will not meet their expectation, need, and want. And because of that, they are going to run away. So you find employees running away an organization, customers running away from that company of buying goods or services, suppliers stopping supplying the suppliers to the company because you didn't meet their need and expectation, because you were not listening to them. Thank you.
Thank you for answering. I think it's very useful from Professor Lau. Ya, before I take visit, kenapa participant listening the camera? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for your presentation. Finally, we can end this lecture today. We would like to thank you for Mr. Ronald for the wonderful information and sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will benefit of our participants. At least we hope for collaboration in the future with them in student the Vocational University in Malawi, which is a lecture for today and here. We appreciate you. Thank you. And